this is Tabia, and today I'm going to show you how to knit more tightly. In case you have to go down several needle sizes when you try to get gauge, although you are using the same or a similar yarn, then it could be a sign that you are a quite loose knitter, and I'm going to show you how to improve that. First, I want to show you how I knit before, and this is a double moss stitch, so there are both knits and purls. It's a little bit hard to do it now because I have trained so hard to change how I did it before. And the first thing that I changed was the movement of my left wrist. So before with every stitch, I turned my wrist to the right, and I made it easier that way to catch the yarn. But I also think that I gave it just an extra flick, which added just a little bit of yarn to every stitch that I was making. Also, I got a little bit of pain in the wrist. So now I'm trying to stabilize the wrist and just move my right hand and have the left wrist as stable as possible. So that was the first thing I changed. And as you can see, for my purl stitches, I'm still finding it a little bit hard to do it that way, because as I said, why I did it before was to make it easier to catch the yarn. Second and most important thing is that I used to come really far out with my needles, like this. And that way the needles are traveling a longer way, and by that, as the distances are longer, there also the chances that you take extra yarn with you are higher. So what I'm trying to do now is that I'm only making the stitches with the tip of the needles, and these are more narrow as well, which then of course will make a smaller stitch. So let me show you again. I'm trying to not come out with my needles too far, but to have the yarn close to the needles and to grab it really with the tip. And the third thing that kind of makes it possible to do so is that I'm trying to have the needles on the left hand closer to the tip. So when I'm knitting and stitches from the left needle are disappearing and going to the right, I'm trying to just push the stitches that are left with my fingers here, with my pinky and my ring finger, to the front of the needle, so that I have an even flow of the stitches here. And at the same time, I have to make sure on the left needle that the stitches are flowing evenly as well. So push them up on the left needle and make them flow down on the right needle. And yeah, as you can see, the wrist thing still is a little bit complicated at times. So I think that the most important thing basically is trying to knit closer to the tip, but even the wrist movement is something that helps me. And I also think that I have become a little bit faster because the needle doesn't have to travel such a long way anymore. Of course, there are different things that you can do as well. You can try to hold your needles in a different way, and I think the most important thing is to have a look at how you're knitting, and that I was inserting my needles quite far into my stitches. Actually, friends from a knitting cafe told me, And that could also be a good tip that you would ask a friend of yours to look at when you're knitting, and maybe they would see some things that could be improved or just changed, which evidently could change how the stitches look. And here you have it. I have to say that when I was trying to change the way I'm knitting, it was a little bit stressful, and of course it takes the flow away if you are changing the way you usually knit. But I'm really happy that I did it, and now it's much easier for me to knit patterns like just right away without having to recalculate or knit 1,000 swatches. If you have tried this technique or a similar one, please let me know down in the comments. It would be really nice to hear if you have tried to change your technique or things that you have done to either knit more tightly or even more loosely if you're a tight knitter from the beginning. If you want to, please subscribe to my channel, then you will get updated if there's a new video coming up. And leave a like, leave a comment. You can find me on Instagram as Taboozen. And thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next week. Bye bye!